Before the screaming fans, the sold-out stadiums, and the record-breaking hits, there were four young lads in Liverpool chasing something they couldn't quite define. They weren't the Beatles yet, not even close. They were heartbreak, hunger, and hard nights in grimy clubs. This is the untold story of the years that shaped them, the quiet tragedies, the chance encounters, and the wild road through Hamburg that forged the most influential band in history. If you think you know the Beatles, think again. This is where it all began. Banjo the Quarrymen and early gigs. The Quarrymen, 1956 to 1959. Originally formed as a skiffle band, the Quarrymen mixed folk, blues, and early rock influences, performing on homemade instruments like tea-chest basses and washboards. Their gigs were mostly small local shows, church halls, street fairs, and social clubs. What they lacked in polish, they made up for in energy. The addition of Paul and George expanded their sound. Their sets gradually shifted from skiffle classics to rock and roll covers, as the trio found themselves more in tune with Chuck Berry and Buddy Holly than British folk traditions. They rehearsed obsessively, with sessions in bedrooms and kitchens, refining their harmonies and trying to emulate the precision they heard on American records. Changing names. As they moved from skiffle to rock, they cycled through several names, each reflecting their evolving ambitions. Johnny and the Moondogs was one of their first stabs at branding, echoing the celestial imagery of the day. They briefly became the Beatles, an awkward blend of beat and Beatles. In 1960, they settled on the Beatles, a punny twist credited largely to Lennon, playing on the word beat while nodding to Buddy Holly's crickets. The name change mirrored their transformation from amateurs to aspiring professionals, now fully committed to pursuing music as more than a hobby. Sunset the Hamburg years, 1960 to 1962. Arrival in Hamburg. Their first tour in Hamburg, arranged by club promoter Alan Williams, took them to Germany's gritty red light district, the Reeperbahn. The venues, like the Indra Club and Kaiserkeller, were raucous and unfiltered, catering to drunks, sailors, and late-night wanderers. They played grueling sets, often 6 to 8 hours per night, barely pausing between songs. It was survival training for a band, physically, emotionally, and musically. Life offstage. The band slept in cramped rooms, often behind the club stage, surrounded by beer crates, and infested with noise and cigarette smoke. They fueled their energy with Preludin, a stimulant pill, which kept them awake but made them jittery. Their time in Hamburg taught them how to command a room, endure exhaustion, and sharpen their live performance under constant pressure. Stuart Sutcliffe. Lennon's art school friend Stuart Sutcliffe was the original bassist, chosen more for friendship and style than musical skill. In Hamburg, Stuart fell in love with Astrid Kircher, a local photographer and existentialist thinker. Through her, the band adopted the now iconic mop-top hairstyles and a more refined, artsy image. Stuart left the band in 1961 to pursue painting, but died in 1962 from a brain hemorrhage, devastating Lennon in particular. Deportation and return. George, being only 17, was deported by German authorities. Paul and Pete were also kicked out for a prank involving lighting a condom on fire in their lodgings, an incident that got them banned from Hamburg for months. These setbacks didn't break them. When they returned, they had grown significantly, tighter musically and more aware of who they were as a group. Sunglasses back to Liverpool and the Cavern Club. Local stardom. Back in Liverpool, they became regulars at the Cavern Club, often performing during lunchtime sessions for crowds of rowdy, devoted fans. Their blend of humor, charisma, and raw sound made them local legends. Lennon cracked jokes between songs, Paul serenaded the crowd, and George dazzled with his solos. Their performances at the Cavern became legendary in their own right, attracting attention far beyond Liverpool's city limits. Brian Epstein. Brian Epstein, the well-dressed, eloquent manager of NEMS Music Store, discovered them in late 1961. Customers kept asking for a German-recorded single, My Bonnie, that featured them backing singer Tony Sheridan. Curious, Epstein attended a Cavern performance and was struck by their presence and audience connection. He offered to manage them, promising to get them a record deal, and gradually refined their image, suits, set lists, punctuality, and professional manners. His business acumen and belief in their talent opened doors they could never have reached alone. Adult microphone final pieces fall into place. Deco audition. On January 1st, 1962, Epstein arranged a formal audition at Decca Records in London. Despite their efforts, the band was turned down. Decca's executives infamously claimed, "Guitar groups are on their way out." The rejection was crushing but motivating. It fueled their determination to succeed elsewhere. Ringo joins. By mid-1962, it became clear that Pete Best, while popular with fans, lacked the tight drumming and musical chemistry the others needed. Epstein, with George Martin's support, replaced him with Ringo Starr, who had played with them briefly in Hamburg and already knew the group. Ringo's style was simple, solid, and reliable. His sense of timing and understated flair brought balance and consistency to their sound. Love Me Do. Recorded in September 1962 and released in October, Love Me Do was a modest chart success. It marked the official debut of the classic lineup: John, Paul, George, and Ringo. With George Martin now shaping their studio sound, the Beatles had taken their final step from local heroes to national contenders. Conclusion. By the time Love Me Do hit the airwaves in 1962, the Beatles were no longer just four Liverpool lads with second-hand instruments and borrowed dreams. They had weathered loss, rejection, grueling nights on foreign stages, and the raw chaos of youth. But through it all, they built something real, a sound, a brotherhood, and a vision that would soon captivate the world. Every harmony they crafted, every lyric they scribbled, and every stage they stumbled across was laid on the foundation of those early, uncertain years. The Beatles didn't arrive fully formed. They were forged in school halls, art classrooms, dive bars, and German backstreets. They found their voice in the shadows, not the spotlight. This is the part of their story too often overlooked, the messy, magical time before the fame, when they were still searching, still learning, and still becoming. And it's here, in the gritty roots of their rise, that we begin to understand not just who the Beatles were, but why they mattered so deeply to the world.